Hello, and welcome to this edition of Lounge 1506. I'm Mike D, and today we'll be interviewing Chris Zabriskie. He's a composer and musician who lives and works in Orlando, Florida. His music career began in 2001. However, in 2009, he began his focus on instrumental music. Over the years, he's released 9 albums, which are available on his website, chriszabriskie.com. Thank you, Chris, for doing this interview with us. What are some of the things you enjoy about making music?
It's the expression of it, but I think it's the creating something new. Just the fun of making something that's never been made before, surprising yourself. I tend to improvise most everything I compose, so it's always kind of new to me as well. And that's exciting. It's exciting to, be able to express yourself and how you're feeling with sound, but also to just create something that's yours. Something totally new to both you and the rest of the world.
What inspired you to start making music in the first place?
I grew up in a very musical family. Nobody really played a lot of instruments in the house, but they sang a lot. I don't think of myself as a very good singer, but I was kind of always surrounded by music and singing in the house. I was raised in a very devout Mormon household, and music in Mormonism is incredibly important. You're constantly singing at church. My dad was a conductor of Messiah choirs and such. So from an early age, just sort of surrounded by music, a lot of hymns mostly. But when I was 11, I saw The Sting, the Robert Redford, Paul Newman movie, The Sting. And the soundtrack is all Marvin Hamlish arrangements of Scott Joplin music, and hearing Scott Joplin, I think, is really what changed my life for the better, and got me interested in making music, at least playing it at first. And so I taught myself to play piano just by reading the sheet music and listening to these recordings of Scott Joplin music, and pretty quickly started just by, tinkering around, goofing off on the piano, finding new melodies and things, and starting to learn to write music, and it kind of just took off from there.
I remember The Sting. That was a great movie. You chose a pretty good example to learn from in Scott Joplin. The king of ragtime writers earned a Pulitzer Prize for his work, although it was awarded to him posthumously. So what kind of music do you like to make?
I usually call my music mostly quiet ambient music. I don't know if that actually describes it or not. I don't know if I even fit into ambient music sometimes, but I think my only real hard and fast rule for my music is no drums. I'm sitting next to a drum set. I play drums in real life, but I don't feel like I'm very good at making beats in electronic music especially. I feel like they're distracting to what I'm trying to do. I'm always impressed when other people use them well, but I'm just not interested. So I think something beatless is what I try to go for, but that doesn't mean non-rhythmic. There's plenty of rhythm in a lot of what I do. I just try not to use actual percussion instruments. So what that ends up making the music, I'm not sure. It's mostly ambient. There's just a lot of piano. I guess you'd call it ambient piano. I like the term ambient. I like what it stands for. I don't think it gets used very well anymore. I think there's a lot of music that's being called ambient music that shouldn't be, but at the same time, who cares, what it's called or what the genre is. I just tend to make whatever sounds interesting to me at the time. I just kind of play with sounds until I find things I like.
What do you find appealing about your particular genre of music?
I don't think I actually listen to very much ambient music recreationally. I do. There's plenty that I love. I love a lot of early electronic music. I mean, Brian Eno, clearly, and Mother Mallard's Portable Masterpiece Company, Tonto's Expanding Headband, and these kind of groups that I just love. A ton of these, pioneers of synth music are always fascinating to me. Ashra. But generally, I don't actually listen to a great deal of ambient music, but it is what I enjoy making, and I think it's because it allows me a lot of freedom to experiment and play with new sounds. I enjoy making music without recognizable instruments, or sometimes even melodies, It's just more interesting to me as a musician because I'm improvising almost everything I'm doing. It's always kind of new to me whenever I go back and listen to it, and that's exciting to me. So I really enjoy making music that gives me that freedom. I'm not tied to song structure. I'm not tied to vocals or any sort of words to convey emotion. It's all right there in the sounds.
What are some things you'd like to accomplish through your music?
I'm always just trying to entertain myself, really, make something that I'm proud of. Once it's done and I release it, I just let it go. I don't think about it anymore. I don't try to promote it too much. I don't try to think about whether people are enjoying it or not. I don't obsess over download numbers or anything like that, because I feel like my part's done. And because of the way I share my music so freely with anybody, at that point it's really up to other people to share it if they like it. If it's good, then it ends up getting used in videos or people tell other people about it. And I don't want to be shouting on Twitter all the time to go buy my music or anything like that. So what I'm trying to accomplish with my music is just make something that I'm proud of. And if people enjoy it, then that's an added bonus.
Has the path you've chosen as a recording artist taught you any lessons that you would like to share with others, either fellow musicians or listeners?
The biggest lesson I've learned is to be as free and open with sharing your art as you possibly can be. I've gone from somebody that was just, what I liked to do, that's what I felt comfortable doing, I thought it was right with my own music, to feeling like this can work for anybody, to really openly share. Not just for, Radiohead within Rainbows or something, or Amanda Palmer's Ethics. It's something anybody can do. And I think it's super important to be generous and let your fans reward you. Let the people who like your music take care of the rest for you. And they will. It takes time and it takes some trust. It takes work on your part. It takes making yourself available online and making your music accessible. But overall, the more that you share, the more you're going to end up getting back.
Well, hopefully many good things will come your way. Music is always evolving as time moves on. Where do you see ambient music in the future, as well as your own music?
I was just thinking about this the other day, where I see my genre of music, whatever that means, I guess we'll call it ambient music, in the future. I think we're getting pretty close, if we're not there already, we're getting pretty close to a real popularity surge, maybe is the best way to put it, in ambient music. And wordless, beatless, mostly made for relaxing. People tend to associate it with doing yoga or meditation or that kind of thing. I think we're already seeing a lot of people getting into listening to ambient music while they work, for example, to increase their productivity, to tune out, let's say, an office environment. Not have super loud music in your ears, but something that's calming, relaxing, but is still kind of tuning out some of the other noise. You're already seeing more and more and more people experiencing this kind of music through Pandora or like Spotify playlists or iTunes Radio and that sort of thing, just to put it on while they're working. And they may not know a lot of the artists right now. They may not be super focused on it because you're obviously not supposed to be, but I think that is inevitably going to lead to a lot of ambient electronic artists becoming more well-known as people go, I really like, that song. And for so many years, it felt like ambient music was kind of, a lot of pan flutes, and you could, you bought it at the end cap near the greeting cards at Target. I think people are taking it a little more seriously. Normal people, not people who would be searching for this kind of music normally, or normally listening to electronic music, people who've never heard anything like it before and don't even really realize what they're listening to. I think you're going to see more and more artists gaining some popularity and even touring more often. So I think there's a popularity surge coming. It's kind of already here, but in people knowing these artists' names, I think is where the genre's going at the moment.
Here's a fun question. Where's a place anywhere in the world that you'd like to perform?
Oh, man. I'd love to go to Europe. I've still never actually visited Europe. I know a lot of people would love for me to come play a show out there in a number of countries. I'd love to go to the UK and Germany and Italy.
Before we go, do you have anything you'd like to tell your fans and supporters?
Thank you, obviously, to those folks who know and enjoy what I'm doing. But the biggest thank you is really just to the people who share my music. who send it to other people who use it in YouTube videos, the filmmakers who include me in their films, and the advertisers who find me and want to use tracks. It doesn't matter who it is. It gets the word out there about me. Every YouTube video, no matter how small or how few people watch it, there's people hearing my music. And so I would have no career without people sharing it like that. So it's a constant cycle of gratitude. People emailing me and thanking me for sharing my music, and me thanking them for using it.
Thank you again, Chris Zabriskie, for taking the time to chat with us about your music. For those watching, if you'd like to hear some more of Chris's music, you can check out chriszabriskie.com. Until next time, I'm Mike D, and I'll be leaving you with this brief presentation courtesy of Chris. Enjoy.